I had to challenge you though, why do you think there's still more people moving to America than people leaving America?
Opportunities. They want a better life for their children. They want part of the American dream.
The American dream is obviously very much still alive.
Are you proud to be American?
I'm proud to be this American person.
How do you help the community?
Oh my God. I have protested everything. Guns and all the bills that they try to pass.
I love being an American because every time I hear people like denounce our country, while they're denouncing it, they will literally list every positive thing. I'm proud to be this American, basically implying that majority of Americans are not proud to be, meaning that they're not really good people. She's saying she protests everything. But what does that statement imply? That statement implies that you have the ability to protest. Do you think in every country you even have that right to protest?
Gen Z represents that paradox, open to diverse viewpoints and compromise in older Americans, yet at the same time closed-minded in many ways.
I just kind of close myself off and I stay friends with the people that respect my views.
But if this promised American dream is slowly fading, can we really blame Gen Z for their activism and resentment? And if there's no more trust, is America heading towards collapse? I guess we gon' see. What do you think are the biggest American problems?
Obesity. Populism around politics is a giant problem. I think the educational system is a big problem.
Systemic racism in our country.
Racism and sexism.
Legislation harming LGBTQ communities, trans individuals.
I would say police brutality and of course racism.
If I had to challenge you though, why do you think there's still more people moving to America than people leaving America?
Opportunities. They want a better life for their children. They want part of the American dream.
The American dream is obviously very much still alive.
Are you proud to be American?
I'm proud to be this American person.
How do you help the community?
Oh my God. I have protested everything. Guns and all the bills that they try to pass to remove.
I love being an American because every time I hear people like denounce our country, they list, while they're denouncing it, they will literally list every positive thing. For example, this young woman right here, she says, I'm proud to be this American, basically implying that majority of Americans are not proud to be, meaning that they're not really good people. And she's saying she protests everything. But what does that statement imply? That statement implies that you have the ability to protest. Do you think in every country you even have that right to protest? That you would be able to protest and not be thrown in jail immediately? Some countries have social grades. What does that mean? If you do something that's socially unacceptable, your social grade will literally drop. It's like a credit score for your social. America doesn't have that. America won't put you on a watch list if you protest a certain event or a certain law. That's your right. Freedom of speech, that's your right. And you're saying this while people are literally jogging in the background with skyscrapers and like, come on, man.
Rights from trans kids.
I believe Americans export their problems. Today you see it, that gender identity that is becoming a social issue. Export that.
People commonly say that America's biggest export is culture, but it's also their issues as well, it seems like.
You're damn right.
So what do you think are like the biggest problems in America?
Probably just like big corporations running everything.
I definitely think that capitalism and corporate greed and big businesses and institutions taking a lack of action to support our communities and the top 1%. I'm a tax the rich, eat the rich girly, so.
Okay, well that's interesting that you brought up big businesses because I'm curious, which of the following companies has had a massive customer data leak? So Facebook, MasterCard, Twitch, or Comcast?
Facebook.
For sure, MasterCard.
What if I told you that it's actually all four of these different companies?
I would believe that as well.
How does that make you feel?
Horrified.
A little nervous.
Have you gotten a text like this before?
All the time. Scammers, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly right, is that whenever a company gets hacked, data brokers get access to a lot of data and they sell it to these scammers. So that's why we're always bombarded with a lot of these like scam texts and phishing attempts. Have you heard of Guardio?
I have not.
Okay, so Guardio is like a browser extension and mobile app that protects against numerous online threats, malware, with 2022 being the worst year for recruitment since 1973.
Basically, he's referring to military recruitment because the amount of people who have pride in our country is dropping. And y'all already know how I feel about that. My thing is people don't see how good America is. That's how I look at it. They don't really see the amount of benefit that I see. I'm not saying it's a perfect place. It's the most perfect place on earth or the most perfect place of all time. Oh yeah, it's no problem. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that it is a genuinely good place. Hey y'all, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe.
U.S. military is struggling to recruit those from Gen Z.
The younger generation doesn't care because we all hate the military. We hate America.
Many blame woke culture, like mandatory diversity and inclusion classes, and a perceived lack of focus on combat readiness. But some may attribute it to an overall loss of respect for the country as seen by many influential figures, including professional athletes.
Kaepernick, what a game!
Colin Kaepernick, former 49ers quarterback and now civil rights activist, has consistently spoken out against racial injustice in America.
There's a lot of things that need to change.
In 2016, his refusal to stand for the national anthem in response to rising cases of police brutality raised national attention and debate. But Kaepernick wasn't alone. Over the years, he's had plenty of support from various athletes, including Brittany.
And Kaepernick is a very interesting person because he protested that event, like he was kneeling on one knee. He actually won a lawsuit or a case against the NFL, and they paid him a lump sum of money, millions of dollars. But their thing was that you can't come back to the league. And he got the money. He got the, I guess, I don't know if you want to put it, he was already pretty famous because he was an athlete, but he got, I guess, more fame. He's known as like an activist now. But then, just recently, he tried to go back to the NFL. Supposedly the same league that was discriminating against him, that was racist, that was doing all this. He's trying to actively go back to that same league. The only reason I'm bringing this up is not to bash Colin Kaepernick. I'm not doing that at all. I'm saying that kind of is the attitude of Americans that I'm seeing when I watch these type of videos of my generation. We will bash the country while literally partaking in all of its benefits. You will sue your job, millions of dollars, then literally believe that you have the right to go back to your job. Then when they won't hire you again, you just call it some type of discrimination. That's America. That's how a lot of Americans think. The level of entitlement is just, I don't even know how to put it. It's insane.
The WNBA player also refused to sing the national anthem, stating that it didn't represent Black Americans. Griner claimed that she didn't mean any disrespect towards the United States, but in early 2022, she was forced to put aside her differences and ask for help. She was arrested at a Russian airport for possession of marijuana and detained for nearly 10 months.
I pled guilty to my charges. I understand everything that's being said against me.
Eventually, the US government stepped in to free the basketball player, but at a cost. In exchange for a Russian arms dealer nicknamed the Merchant of Death that was serving a 25-year sentence, Griner was freed after 10 months in prison.
Brittany Griner is free as part of a prisoner swap.
Many people questioned the government, wondering why an arms dealer conspiring to kill Americans was traded for a basketball player who openly hates America. And all the while, Paul Whelan, a former Marine, was left to continue his sentence in Russia even after 3 years detained. And so it's clear that there's a decline in national pride, even in areas that were once considered symbols of patriotism, from military to sports. And so I wanted to ask the streets on how this all happened. Is it racist to have national pride?
As a German born and grown up in Germany, national pride wasn't something that we were given with a lot because of our history. I don't think it's racist to have national pride. I think it's a good thing in a lot of ways. If it starts infringing on the freedom and the ability of other people to live in comfort, I think it gets problematic for sure.
Everyone is going to say they love their country, but maybe the way they're showing it would be different from a person to the other.
Is it good to have pride about who you are? Sure, but let it be based on your accomplishments, how good you've been to other people.
Although those two things might overlap and impact each other, I don't think that's a binary.
But is America the only country that's struggling with galvanizing national pride? Because for Russia, the key was religion. In the 1990s,
this is sad. This is so sad, man. And this is why people, when they look at our country, they're like spoiled, rich Americans. Because this lady's literally on a sunny pier on a random day with her nice blown out hair and her nice expensive shades, just left the grocery store, Perfect. Literally looks like a perfect day, while simultaneously denouncing pride in the country. And I'm not. You know what? Let's let this play out.
Orthodox Christianity was uncommon as only a third of Russians identified with the religion. But now 72% of Russians are Orthodox, which was largely influenced by campaigns that targeted the youth. Similarly, in 2005, the Kremlin started pro-government youth organizations in an attempt to instill national pride, as Putin recognized as the key in maintaining his political power.
Analysts say he's used the Russian Orthodox Church to promote a so-called pivot to traditional values.
But it wasn't just the leader in Russia that was thinking this way. For years, national pride has been an important asset for President Xi Jinping's party, even in spite of criticisms from Chinese journalists. In 2019, a Chinese app that roughly translates to "study from Xi, build a powerful country" was launched. It pushed pro-Chinese messages and provided a one-stop shop for news about Xi's political doctrine. To encourage activity, it provided incentives. Chinese citizens could earn points for their social credit score based on their app usage time and participation in quizzes about the Chinese Communist Party. And
Didn't I bring this up earlier in the video? Like, I literally brought this same thing up. Was it this video? A social credit score?
Feng and Xu Ziming both criticized this indoctrination. They were swiftly jailed as traitors. And in a country like America where freedom of speech supposedly exists, what would foreigners and Americans that hate America say?
What do you think are the biggest American stereotypes?
I think ignorance is a big American stereotype.
Americans not being able to like pinpoint exact countries. That's always a funny thing, because I'm like, it has to be a joke, right?
Fast food is one of the biggest. The ego is like high. So fast food and arrogance.
Yeah.
That they're stupid, that they're fat f***s, that their food is disgusting.
Of size, of course.
I guess that there's like a lot of fat people.
Do you think Americans are spoiled?
I feel like Americans have power. Everywhere they are, you can sense like the presence of, oh, they are American. Americans have like authority.
I'm not spoiled. Do I think billionaires are spoiled? Yeah.
I personally know so many people who have an extremely limited worldview being from America. Our education system struggles with educating American citizens about Westernization, capitalism, and all of those things.
We're extremely spoiled. I'm not gonna lie. Like, we're extremely spoiled. Like, it's to the point that the country is so good, like, as a whole, as a whole country compared to other places in the world, that you just kind of forget how good it is. Like, you kind of forget that, yeah, you got the newest iPhone or you got the newest everything, and some problems just don't even exist to Americans.
Are the right thing.
Which brings up a question. Are the issues that we face minor in the grand scheme of things? Because while all problems are subjective, do these America-specific issues suggest that these are good problems to have compared to most countries? In 2020, after the death of Floyd, over 90 Confederate monuments were removed, with the final one taken down in Richmond, Virginia. But if events from 3 years prior are any indication, not everyone is happy with change. In 2017, white supremacists and neo-Nazi groups gathered in Charlottesville, Virginia to protest the removal of a statue honoring Confederate General and slaveholder Robert E. Lee. And as racist slogans were chanted, things got out of hand quickly after 32-year-old Heather Heyer, a counter-protester, was ran over and killed.
Oh my God!
And so it's clear that while one group seeks to preserve their ideas from the past, another is looking to rectify what they see as past mistakes. And no group is leading that resistance more than Gen Z. But can scrutinizing every aspect of life lead to more problems or solutions?
I feel like Gen Z has had more opportunities and information than a lot of generations. Do you think this has made you guys more open-minded or closed-minded?
More information creates the illusion of being informed. There is so much content out there. Even all what I've been saying is basically based on contents that I've been consuming, but who the hell knows if it's true?
They're closed-minded.
But that's facts. Like, you think you know more than you do. Like the Dunning-Kruger effect. You just are presented with so much information, but you never really look into any of it. Is it true? Is it false? You don't know. You just know that you've heard it.
That's a little different.
Do you think Gen Z is not able to take into account how good we have it at the same time?
Many of us were extremely little when 9/11 happened, through the 2008 recession, 2016 election occur, and overlapping all of that, we've had an extreme mental health crisis and then have been facing climate change issues. Gen Z has had it extremely hard despite those privileges.
If I had to challenge that though, don't you think though Gen Z sometimes maybe masquerades closed-mindedness as open-mindedness?
The 1960s, when there were older generations who said you're far, far, far too radical. We have a much fairer society because the vision of the younger generation won.
What if we start seeing race, gender in problems and everything? Do you think that could also make it so a lot of problems become exacerbated or we view it that way, even if it's not there?
To call that out is not to be divisive. It is to call out the division in someone's mind when all that is whitewashing, ignoring, and marginalizing and erasing history and present.
The problem people have with Gen Z is not us calling things out or us fighting the power. The problem they have is that sometimes the power doesn't need to be fought. Oh, forgive me for saying it, but sometimes there is no problem. Like, and I'm not trying to, be the bad guy when I say that, but genuinely sometimes it's like we're fighting an invisible fight. Here's my thing. If you're always fighting for something, when do you stop fighting? Like, when do you get to the point that, you know what, maybe we got what we wanted, but it's like we never get what we want. It's like the fight just never ends. That's why people say, you know what, Gen Z doesn't know what they're talking about. And also, because sometimes we don't. Like, as a whole, we use social media or entertainment or the internet to just get information. Don't even be true. But anyways, I'm gonna let this video end. I'm gonna quote this person in the comments. I mean, not the comments, my description. This channel is called Jen. Anyways, I'll see you on the next one.